Guys, welcome to Code Blue. Today we have the wonderful, amazing Sabrina Runbeck. Welcome, Sabrina. How are you?
Hey, how are you? How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. So, Sabrina, um, let me just get into your bio real quick. So, guys, let me introduce you to Sabrina Runbeck. MHSPAC is a transformational force in healthcare with over a decade of expertise spanning clinical medicine, public health, executive leadership, coaching, strategic consulting, and project management. Having overcome burnout with 12 major healthcare systems, she now guides healthcare founders towards optimizing their business models, and maximizing social impact. Sabrina's acclaimed podcast, Provider's Edge, ranks among the top five globally and boasts over 30,000 listeners, while her TV show showcases over 150 groundbreaking healthcare entrepreneurs, an international best-selling author, and featured on Fox, CBS, and ABC. She champions the mantra that visibility is the gateway to profitability, achieving remarkable 5x conversion rates for her clients. A seasoned networker, speaker, and clinical advisor, Sabrina influence resonates across the US, Europe, and South America. So welcome, Sabrina. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Oh, I appreciate you for having me here. Hi.
We'll go into intro, and we will be right back. So welcome back, guys. Welcome to Code Blue. Welcome to the show. Today we have the amazing Sabrina Runbeck. So Sabrina, I read your short bio, which is not really short, but you have a lot of experience in healthcare, which is our one of our core topics on this show. We try and stay within healthcare in the sterile processing arena, but since you're new to my little network of folks, I would like you to introduce yourself to them and tell them a little bit about who Sabrina Runbeck is.
I'm someone who only child, only girl in the family of all boys. Always had that competitive edge of no, just because I'm a girl, I'm not just gonna marry, get good job, and then be done with it. That was just never going to be how I am and who I am. When I got into the realm of medicine, I really just dived in. I loved the surgical part, and that's why I went into cardiothoracic surgery as a PA. When I start getting myself to that fast speed of do all the time, like all of us kind of tend to stuck into, oh, there's a patient, there's a consult, you got to run over here to see someone because they need you. Oh, there's the outpatient. Now you have your cases ready. It seems like we are all running in this chaotic world instead of the intentionality of why we even get into medicine. So when I got to the point of start leading bigger teams and becoming a speaker, running, hosting, continue educational events, and even going to business events for how can we become the true performer in everything that we do? Because all of us are already high performers. However, we sometimes drive ourselves to the wall and really have to hit a wall before we realize, oh my gosh, all the busyness that we're doing are not really truly productive. And even you think you're being productive, getting so much stuff done, we're not actually effective in what we're doing. So we're not afraid of working hard. And what we truly are fearful is all the hard work that we're putting in, no one is really appreciating us. And when we're putting all this hard work, we're not seeing the result in the right speed and the right time frame and the right direction we're going. So that's when I start to take a step back and start getting into that executive and business world of thinking how I can create true lasting impact with the people that we have. Are we with the right people and have the right resources to do the right thing? Or we're thinking that, oh, whatever comes, we'll figure it out. And if we're just in the limbo of life and not intentional about the resources and respecting everyone's best skill set, then it won't help us to move forward in life. We're still just toggling, right? Juggling things. And it's almost like, when you play juggle, it's three balls. So you kind of have this hand eye coordination. But what if you're trying to catch four in the air and then two of your hands are doing completely different things? Then you're juggling for nothing. So in
Yeah.
life and in career, that's what I found is that we sometimes have a lot of resources. We're constantly seeking expertise, but we actually don't understand how to best leverage these experts in our network and how to value them, how to appreciate them. At the same time, how do we not just inch by inch, but how can we see the long run and not get into the mindset of just doing more things and thinking only when we work hard, then we can get there. Because it's not just about working hard and it's also not just about working smarter. It's about how do we create the least amount of effort and actually create the maximum of output.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my journey of so far of being able to become serial entrepreneurs, being a podcaster, speaker, running networks for healthcare amplifier who are great creative like yourself in the domain of healthcare. Each of us all have a niche, but we all wanted to support each other with growing our shows and being able to create that message that people need to hear, as well as helping the technology side, because I see that the right technology truly is the resource to impact millions instead of waiting for that one or two patients coming across our door and then deliver the services to that impact.
Yeah. Mm. All right. All right. Now hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. So my takeaways from that is you did a lot and you're continuously doing a lot. And now you're focusing on sharing your knowledge within the healthcare field. And you're also saying that we as people sometimes trying to get ahead, we do a lot without getting anywhere. So, and I know in your bio you had an experience with burnout. Could you bridge that for the audience to let them know how you dealt with that and how that you transition in that into helping others?
I was really burning out in earlier my career. For all of us, we definitely have in any phase when we start making a shift, we always hoping see the positive and then hoping for the easier or better way of doing things. Now, when I start making a shift in my second career, uh, from going to purely just vascular surgery into cardiothoracic and transplant, now taking on even more specialty. And that time, I think all of us, when we start adding more to our plate, it's like we can do it. It's because it's either sink and swim. Of course, those of us gonna choose to swim no matter what, right?
Right.
And when I get to the point where I'm constantly operating, and one day I remember I had a fever in the morning. I just don't feel well, but I know I had a full day of cases and I have to go in. And while I'm coughing and looking down, it's like, oh, just get through the day. All our nurses were being nice and passing cough drop under my mask just to keep going. And I think many of us have done that, right? We'll go to work, wear a mask since we're covered up anyway. If we don't do it, call someone else, there's gonna be a mess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next day when I had to go in, I really can't even get out of bed. It was just night sweat, the fan's going. I'm feeling like, oh, my head is buzzing. There's just no way. When I finally called to say I have to take a sick day, you guys have to call in the first assist because those are our backup. The conversation on the back end become, oh, Sabrina, you didn't thought to tell us sooner. Like we're planning our sick days. Like
Mm-hmm.
anybody show up in our doorstep for any of our clinic and hospital, they actually plan our sickness.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. I understand. Mm-hmm.
So internally, it becomes, oh, I thought our value system is integrity and caring and advocate, but are we not advocating for ourselves, for our colleagues? Are we only advocating for our patients? And at the same time, do we not see ourselves as a patient? So, in that transition of realizing the reality and what we're actually doing to ourselves, I started thinking, how do we make this thing actually work for me? And not just think this environment is constricting me. And many people have that distinction or lack there is. They feel like, oh, I love what I'm doing, but just not how I do it. I love what I'm doing, but just not really with my team. I love what I'm doing, but it's just not in this organization. If only I move somewhere else, things are better. But what we haven't figured out is how do we gain the right support from the existing team? How do you change the dynamic of what's working, what's not working? And what do we need to change within ourselves? So even you really get to the point you wouldn't be able to stay, you have to move on. You're starting fresh as an individual who has grown, who's not carrying your same problem, issues, and struggles into the next organization that you have. And that is when I start dealing with a lot of self learning and going to bigger conferences, getting one on one executive coaching, and getting help in a way of, okay, I don't know what I don't know. So, how can I know? How can I then grow as an individual and have better relationships, have better teams? And so, through that entire journey of learning positive intelligence, learning about peak performance, going back more into what I used to do in neuroscience days of how to shift behavior changes and also start looking into other aspects beyond the psychological profiling, into social psychology, into cognitive behavior, into spiritual alignment, into purposefulness, and into physical influence of how your body react and skill set. To truly become that leadership learning is all holistic. And that also makes sense into what I do now is we actually see there's so many innovations in healthcare. And it's a $660 billion market. And it's a crazy amount of funding and money going into innovation. And because we believe in it, right? If you think about ChatGPT, cloud, all this AI system that being known in the past few years, but they are actually being around for a long time. So as we're evolving and adapting into the technology of today, how can we choose the right company, the right solution, and not get overwhelmed and actually put the gifted founders on the map because they so deserve it? They can truly improve both our clinicians' lives as well as the patient and caregivers, right? So I'm in that space of being super excited to be in that place to help them. But that help, we also know people don't know what they don't know. They have to get validated. So we evaluate each company by 12 different area of impact that matches the 12 critical domain of business. At the same time, That's not enough, right? Even you just have a really well operational workflow, people matters. Who runs them? That's what's gonna flourish, accelerate versus plateauing, right? Never get anywhere.
Mhm.
So we, at
Mhm.
the same time, we assess the founders. Are they true peak performers based on those four things we talked about? The skill sets, the physical, the psychological and behavior and the spiritual alignment and and how you are able to create influence of all different type of skills. And then to say you should not be a bottleneck for your company. And you and all your board members and leaders are true accelerators, because we often see when the companies start growing, people are the ones who couldn't catch up. And when they start having investors and true supporters into the company, if they can't keep up because they're not a good leader themselves, they tend to get voted off. So we don't want that.
Mhm.
We don't want the people
True.
who work so hard, sweat, blood loss, time, right? Sometimes they're missing best moments of their family life to build a company and to get voted off from that platform.
True. So true. So true.
So that's why we become the validation body to say we want to give you the solid analysis of the foundation of your company so you know exactly what to do and go forward to focus on the right thing, as well as your leadership has to be the true peak performers and not bottlenecks.
I agree. I agree. And a lot of people get into the business and do not understand how the business works. They want to start something new. They have the feeling, they have the passion to do something different, but they do not they do not understand the strategic aspects of starting a business, especially in the social media world that we live in now. So how do you become how does one start to become productive and efficient, maximizing their efforts or their strength in this new media space? So I'm starting up, or somebody new starting up, and they're doing it, but they're not doing it to the extent that they want to do it. So how can someone maximize their productivity and get the most out of this? Phil, because you get so much input nowadays. You get the TikToks and the YouTubes, and you post once a day. Some people say post 4 times a day. Some people say post 20 times a day. So how do you maximize? What's the strategy for that?
Right. So what you brought up is a really good point. What you're talking about is actually a tactic. They're not strategies. Strategy
Mm,
means you need to create a high level. So we actually see any project planning and delivery in five different phases. Number one is actually the spiritual side. What does that mean? Spiritual It means your vision, your mission, your high purpose. What's the high level strategy and high level goals you needed to produce? So when anything that produce, we wanted to say, what's your 1 year goal, your 3 year goal, your 5 year goal, your 7 year goal, your 10 year goals, right? So what is that in each phases of growth? What can you picture yourself to create? What is that end goal? Some people's end goal is financial. Some people's end goal is establishment authority. And some people's goal is more from the feeling of people recognize who they are and they're simply attracting the right opportunity to them, right? But all of these goals need to be described and measurable. So, for example, for a company that has a product and perhaps has a back-end application process. If your goal is to have, let's say, 10,000 users on the platform by the end of the year, now at least we can reverse engineer to say, of that 10,000 users of your 1 year goal, how do we break down into quarterly planning? And what does that even look like? And then that quarterly planning going to the next phase. And what's the next phase? The next phase is more of that mental side. So the mental side means you start to understand how to conceptualize to make things happen? And how do you detail planned out on that 10,000 users at the end of the year? Means what exactly do you have to do? If you're purely just talking about marketing, then you have to say, how do we create brand awareness? What is that brand messaging? It's on point. How do we create more of that? What do people want to hear from you? And what are the true problem you're solving that people are actually researching? So that content creation is a separate thing. Then also outreaching. How do you want people to get to know you? What are your strategy to not just attracting people? Because if you're simply posting, that means you better have already a large network, or you have a lot of engagement on your post that people like, and then that lead to more. Otherwise, what's your strategy on finding more people out there? And
Mhm.
every single business is different because age has a difference. Some people who are senior, perhaps podcasting is a great way. They like to listen, they're doing stuff, and they're just listening in the background. And younger people could be, as you're saying, TikTok. So if you know who your audience are, where they're hanging out, which platform they actually use, then the strategy can be more detailed. That every single strategy and turn into a detailed plan and then turn into a measurable metric. And then that metric need to be reviewed on a periodically basis, whether it's every 2 weeks, monthly, however you want it to do, to make sure that you're on point, that you're moving forward. And you also need to be able to have people to do what? Problem solving. Because we know nothing just planned and implement, you leave it. You have to continue to move forward with the change in the marketplace. A lot of people's mistake has been directly go jumping in on the doing part, on the smaller strategy of day to day without having that high level big strategy. And what they're doing is now the third section, the physical side. They start, I just want to execute. So one of my clients and have done a video and sent it to me to say, oh yeah, be honest, how did I do? And I said, it's not so much about the quality. First of all, there's needed a lot of video editing, but it's the way that you even talk about the situation. It's too much you up front before people even care about who you are, what the problem you're solving, and why are you even here. So the flow of how we deliver a message is so important. And of course, if nobody gave him that strategy and purpose, then just producing a lot of videos, a lot of posts would not lead you to anywhere. Because the
Mhm.
number one question is going to be, what's the point of even sharing about these awards? What's the point about doing XYZ? And even you think this can do that, well, there's probably 10,000 things to create visibility and awareness. There's a lot of different ways to bring in eyeballs into your product. But are you actually bringing in just simply where, or you bring in for a conversion event? What is it? Right. And so it's not so much doing the physical part, also means you find the right resources, the right partnership to help you spread the word, to help you to grow who you are. And then also quality control, not so much on quantity, but quality. And be aware of the present that you bring into the room, the timeliness. Sometimes it's just not the right time to share about those information, right? If it's a major societal event happening and
Mhm.
then you have a local event, and but your local community has something else that's in conflict, then it's not the right time to launch. So there are so many different aspects that we need to consider. Now of course you need to have the financial backing. If you did not save enough money, then you have to be able to borrow, or you say that I'm able to create money with other revenues and then self funding myself in this project, right? And then the last two factors are emotional and then energetics. The emotional side is the hopes, the aspiration, the desire, the wants, the motivation of your own self, your team, as well as how do you build the right relationship so people continue to want to work together, and emotional management, right? When things don't go well, how do you support them and the
Mhm.
ups and downs? And lastly, that energetic part is about how do you synchronize everything together? Is that in harmony in who you are? Is that in the right direction? Are you intuitively know this is the right time, the right thing? Right. So when we're thinking about high level strategy, we go through all these five different major areas and the five domains underneath. And when we do that, we give each of our clients these completely thought process in all 12 domains of their business: financial, legal, tech, operations, sales, marketing, strategic partners, customer service, PR. And then we also know people drive, right? So you need a HR, culture, hiring, talent optimization, and intuitive alignment in the purpose, right? To help people motivate. So all these things need to be thought out in this top down level of strategic thinking. That otherwise people are always get down to the weeds. Oh, let me just post there. Let me just do that. And you spend so much money, so much time, and you're not getting anywhere.
So thank you for that. And a lot of people don't know that there's so many different dynamics to starting something new, especially in social media. They think it's straightforward as posting, you get likes, and you get more likes after that. Then you get more likes, then you get more money, then you get more money. The more people that follow you, the more money you get, and there isn't always a correlation between likes and followings and the amount of profit you make. But I like the way that you went through the different tiers, and I was interested. I was curious, and I wanted to hear you tell me about something in your, I think it was your first video, or your first video, or your of Provider's Edge, where you went through givers, takers, and matches. Can you, can you expand on that? Because I think that's something the audience will really be interested in. If you could expand on that a little bit.
Adam Grant is a well known social psychologist, and he had a book called Give and Take. We're really breaking down to the three phases of human relationship. Now, we think a lot of people are sharers, and then you have the givers and takers. So, just like
Mhm.
the name says, the shares are all about when sometimes they are too much in the fairness. Everything has to be equal. If I give you something, that has to be equal back. The problem was when you're too matchy matchy, sometimes you are really gonna be having a difficulty when you did something for others and that person is not doing something for you, and you actually feel imbalanced. And research actually shown that sh- people who are matcher, right, the share and matchers, tend to punish the takers and tend to rather lose themselves to punish the takers. So, for example, one of the study that got set up was you go into an experiment and you have $100 to split. The first person can say, you have a partner. Whatever amount that you claim, the partner gets the rest. However, if your other partner do not agree, then none of you gets anything. So guess what? The taker gonna take the larger sum, right? And
Mhm.
then when it comes to the share and matchers, they rather not take, let's say, the $10 just so punish the takers, just so the taker won't have it,
Mm.
right? So guess what? You're actually losing on $10 anyway. You could have the chance of at least have the $10. Now you have a chance of not having at all. But for them, somehow it felt fair. I punished the people that shouldn't have it. Now the takers tend to be really good at being a fake giver. So those are the people, if you have seen, they're part of the organization at any time.
Hold on. Could you repeat that again? And I'll go off. Just explain that.
So the shares are the ones who has to match each other perfectly. If they don't feel like if you give them, perhaps in business, for example, we often create strategic partnership. And in that sense, people need to feel fair in if I gave you share, introduce you a client, there's something that I have to take back. And that's a matcher and share mentality. Now, a true giver would say, yes, I know something will come back to me, but I'm not going to match you on, oh, every 10 referrals I send out, I have to get 10 back, right? And because if we feel like that there is a measurement in every single gain, it's very difficult to keep a healthy energy to move forward. Now, a taker tend to be really good at faking as a giver. Initially, they will seem like they're donating, they're saying anything is possible and we can do anything. But they're the one who, even within a big organization, claiming the wins. It's their win, not everybody else's win. It's their win because they did XYZ, not because actually you have a whole team that's supporting you. So that goes to the opposite of a giver. Giver always believe, hey, it's okay. With that social experiment that we talked about, givers will rather say, oh, yeah, you want to take 100%? Go take it. That's fine. I don't need to actually have anything left. And they also tend to be the one who shares everything. They will praise everybody else on the team. And even though they might have done most amount of work, they believe someone else actually did the work for them or with them. And that's why they truly create success. And by study, giver tend to have a win in the long run. They might not see the win right away, right? There's not an immediate reward sometimes because they're constantly pouring out to others. However, in the long run, people truly authentically recognize those giver, who they are, and how they're actually helping everybody else. So if you have the true patience of being a giver, we know all the right things, the good energy will simply coming back, right? So in basic business in any sort, you can take a referral bonus. But in medicine, sometimes, and also legally, you can't just take a percentage cut from a business deal. And those people who truly believe in collaboration and the right team and energy to refer each other will know if I create an event, I invited you, you meet some other amazing people, and then those people will eventually come back, or things will just always work out on its own. So that's when we're thinking about this true social psychology. And so how do we apply into business world, especially when we have a lot of high level experts that we want to be on our team, right? And from the startup world, whenever we talk about, oh, so you must have good support, everyone is always going to say, yes, we have this experts with these many years, they work with these organization, and then I have other experts, yada yada. What we're missing in that arena is how can every single one of your executive member function as an acting board member, not just a title board member. Yeah, at the end of the day, a lot of people have great experiences, great titles. How do you make sure that actually delivering what they need to deliver and not just use their title as almost like a taker, right? They take a part of your equity, they take the a name and title, but how are they truly contribute to you? That's when we start have to think about integrated system because no one truly in any business arena know everything. I like to stay in the media side, the visibility side, the business partnership side. I understand, I know the marketing side, but I rather not spend the time to create a high level strategy all the way down to doing that. If I have to step in as a project manager here and there, I can. If I have to strategize and figure out the right tools and systems from the tech side, I can. But doesn't mean I like it or doing well. And that's when we start thinking, what is the true persona, the right resources that we need to be on the team? How do we decipher that? And that go back to our assessment with the 4 things. Number 1 is we assess the founder by their skill set. Number 2, we wanted to assess the founder by who they're born with. What is that true nature? That there is the energetic physical strength that they're born with, that they actually influence and perceive the world very differently than others. That has not much to do with their psychological profiling and behavior. Means we can test people on what are the sabotaging tendency you have. How are you actually supporting your team and yourself, and you're not holding yourself back? And then we also assess people's high level purpose alignment, because who you are, what you want to do, what the true mission you need to be in this society, in this world, does not align with the company that you're creating, guess what? You tend to do a lot of things and never get back on track, and tend to be like, everyone is helping me or not helping me, right? And it's really hard to decipher. So when you decide your team and yourself, it's a self-awareness of, we understand there's the 3 founder persona. Number 1 is the visionary. You're so good at seeing what is the gap, what solution need to be there, how do you create those? But when you share your vision with others, not many people actually get it. Therefore, you need a second person on that executive team who is a connector, a person that can understand your vision and translate that vision into something impactful and income generating. And then you also need a person to not just out hunting, selling for you and making great connections, but actually implement and convert all the strategy into an integrated way with the rest of your team member to deliver the actual services to the right clients. Now, we also know some VCs tend to find the best COO or CEO with the operational expertise, and they give them lump of money. They say, go find the best solution out there, we'll invest, and then you're going to take over and run the company. Now, despite they have the great skill set of operational excellence or financial backend, but if they're not truly consistently connected to the visionary, or that visionary somehow got replaced from the board altogether, then the company tend to wobble, because the team that was built is based on the visionary's thought process. And we need all 3 people, the visionary to gel people together, because at end of the day, growing a company is still about culture. It's still about motivation of the true highest purpose. And you need the other person who, yes, you're the implementer. You can keep things moving forward by the doing, by having a strategy, which means your connector, your impact creator, create a high level strategy. And then the implementer takes it, makes sense of it, decide, dissect down, right? Visualize it, conceptualize it into detailed plan so other people can actually do it. And not everyone can jump up from the high level strategy down to the lower strategy and vice versa. And when we are really good at high level strategy and how to stay in low level strategy, that actually doesn't fit who we are. There's so many things that go into creating a great way to function with the right people. And that's why we have the core three founders up top. Then we have 12 domain of expertise underneath. That's why we can scale any company super fast. It's no longer just doing, right? Get crazy out social media with no engagement. You start used to be knocking on doors of private practice office and you got shut down by even just the front desk secretaries. You don't even get to see your office managers to talk to you. So the old school strategies are no longer working. We need to find newer ways to engage with everyone, keep them motivated, and then thinking about every single area of business to have the right plan so you can actually kick off and get going.
I was busy listening and taking notes because you had some great points there. I was like, oh, let me watch this show, and then I realized I was in the show. So so sorry about that. I think you had some good points there too, especially when it came to the perception of persons feeling no one's helping them, but or somebody's helping them too much, or somebody's trying to help them but not helping them in the right way. Those concepts really, I think some of my audience members will that will resonate with a few of them quite well. So thank you for sharing that. This show has been a little um, more of insight into personalities, um, business strategies, life experiences, um, and a couple little tidbits of advice which I didn't expect. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So I have one more question for you. And then then when we're done, I'll go and replay this video, this show, and watch it and take some more notes because I think it was really informative and educational at the same time. Um, so in scaling a business or in scaling a business, especially in this social media era we live in, this fast pace, we need to get it done. You balancing probably a job and transitioning into social media. How can one get that partnership, the correct partnership to get them to that next level? Because everybody tries to collaborate. You have a friend, you have a buddy, someone you know who's doing it, but how do you bridge the gap between those networking opportunities, finding the right people that could help you scale your business or your dream, so to speak?
Right. When people are just stand alone, you can be a great expert, but again, you're by yourself. When you have a network, an established team, that's you can go really fast in scaling. And that's why we promote when you're outsourcing, it's not so much about outsourcing the team, the back end. Even you have a friend, you have someone to help you, that's one person's effort. That's one team effort. It's not a cohesive, large domain effort. We propose when you outsource, you have to be able to outsource first your front end high level strategy first. And that is the only way you can scale quickly. Now, we don't help with the pre seed early stage businesses. We help people who already have some good market fit, have been in revenue, or have good funding above 5 million. Because we know when you have no business structure, it's hard for us to really do a gap analysis to tell you what works or doesn't work because you haven't even figured out the basic. And same thing, even we can come in, assess your senior level board. If you're so much in the trenches are still figuring out the basic, you don't have the mindset to actually grow internally and externally to be peak performers. So it's not so much about getting into the weeds of what social media does. Social media might not be your tool at all. Some other way might be the tool that you have to go after. And If you're ever consider using social media for network building, you have to keep in mind the win-win perception. What is it that other people want that you can have? You can easily give. For me, social media engagement is commenting on people who I like their posts, dropping them a personal message to show that, hey, both of us are podcaster. I actually have a director of healthcare shows. Love to just have you featured as a speaker or show host on my director so people can find your shows easier and they can very targeted connect with you and do podcast swap, grow the shows because you have similar audience and not going off ramp talking everywhere that are the wrong audience. You have no growth because you're talking about very different topics that the audience would not be able to engage in. So I know something I can give right away. And especially LinkedIn is the B2B platform versus some other platform is more toward direct clientele, right? Your Instagram, your TikTok, and YouTube is really a big search engine, and podcasting is a great something that's you kept other people's attention because you're constantly speaking in their ears. However, if you don't really know what is it that you're doing, how do you want to target, or what type of people that you want to engage in, you're just posting and messaging and doing things, it's not going to get you anywhere. Also, all of our engagement needed to be really short in a giving way. If you don't know what to give and you're simply going out asking a bunch of stuff, things don't really come back to you. However, at the same time, if you're not clear on your one specific ask, people also don't know how to help you. So when we're creating strategic collaborations, it's easiest when it comes to people like us. We have a whole board already built out. We can just plug and play and fix everything that you have when you're in the right stage. Or when you're unable to do that because you're not in the right phase of business, you need to still figure out the ground foundation, what your product is, how you serve people. Then you needed to start having a lot more conversation with the right experts. What does that mean? Is not to listen to everybody, but intentionally to see who have the experience that you need in the right target framework. Hospital systems versus smaller organization versus private practice are very different in how they do business. And same thing, a technology company, a digital health app platform versus a wearable that has to deal with manufacturing versus a medical device that has to go through FDA. They're very different type of concerns, data safety you have to go through. So learn from those have walked in front of you and start collecting information and then have someone to help you synthesize what's the right thing for you and not use one mode fits all type of strategy because we know even though those individual has been successful in that way, they probably have different environment, different support system, different location that made them successful. You have to truly find your own way by collecting a lot of information. And when you're able to bring on a whole integrated board where you don't have to think about everything, everybody else is thinking for you and tap into each other's resource, that's the fastest way to grow.
Hmm. Okay. I'm listening. I'm still listening. So I'm trying to think of strategies while you're talking. I'm trying to think of strategies to grow my platform and look at things that I've been doing wrong that you're mentioning right now. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I should shift my mindset into being for the future. So thank you for that. I'm definitely going to take your advice to heart because I really appreciate your expertise, your background, and what you bring into the show right now. So thank you so much. But I need take you off for a second because I'm gonna do a quick um, sponsor info, and I'll bring you right back. So, guys, thank you for watching the show, but I really need your support. So, guys, as you know, I'm an Amazon affiliate. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I've been using multiple mics. I have this mic right here. But the mic I used most of my podcasting journey was the Rode Mini. Now, this mic is amazing. The only reason why I got the new mic is because it it has a light. But if you're starting podcasting or if you're doing Zooms, web interviews, any type of social media, and you need a good mic, this is a great beginner's mic. And it's not necessarily a beginner's mic. It's a good quality mic that you could use throughout your journey in podcasting or social media. So check this mic out. I have a link in the description below. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so if you purchase a mic, some proceeds from that purchase will be donated to the Sterile MD Fund or to myself to help the show out. So, guys, check out the Rode Mini, the link in the description below, and support the show. Thank you. All right, welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, thank you so much. Any last words you want to give to the audience? Any links, any upcoming events? I know you have an event coming up on the, let me see, 25th.
25th.
Yes.
Yay!
In Orlando, correct?
Yes. So every year we join with PodFest. They're the largest independent podcasting network to have a full healthcare day for all the healthcare creatives. And this year we're doing in Orlando as well on January 25th. And so please come join us. It's really fun. We do a lot of networking. We talk about how to grow your show, how to leverage your voice to become an online and in person authority, how to better engage with the listeners because some people grow a large following but don't really have any actions through it, or some people even just have 200 people on their platform. They're very engaged, they become clients. So there's different ways to truly leverage speaking and podcasting and media production for business growth as well as advocacy and policy changes. So please join us at Healthcare Amplify. Go to healthcareamplify.org and slash tickets so you can grab your ticket. And for anybody who love to chat with me, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. One of the tip for you is anytime that you wanted to connect with someone on LinkedIn, make sure you have a personalized message on how did you find them, how did you discover them, so they were more likely to say yes instead of leaving you in their queue and not connect at all.
You know what? Let me give that yes, because that's funny to me because I have left a lot of people, a lot of messages unanswered because of that generic type message. So, and that's one of the things I do, especially when approaching someone for the first time. You don't want it to seem like a orchestrated seller type of message. So you want it to be personal. Use their name, use something you know about them, about the profile, and and then the ask, or I'm trying to network, or get in touch with them on their level. Because most messages I've seen, they always ask for something. Hey, I want to sell you this, and I'm like, okay, you don't even know me. Why would you want to sell me that? So I think that's great advice, especially for the audience, and for those persons looking to reach out to other people. So if I have not responded to your message, I just told you why. So 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 take her advice. So so thank you so much, Sabrina, for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. I love your content. So check Sabrina out. Check out her profile on LinkedIn. Check out her content. It's amazing. I'm impressed with her delivery. I'm impressed with the quality of show she's producing. I'm impressed with the where she's taken it so far. From where she was, you wouldn't link up a PA to podcasting. Yeah, yeah. So it's refreshing to see the different professions that could in healthcare that could be drawn to the same types of content, so to speak. So I'm optimistic for the future of podcasting and healthcare in general, based on the attention it's getting. And then, as you said, because I watch your show, as you said, let me see, the old man brain is kicking in. Podcasting is one of the most trusted forms of media. So I'm glad to see that more people are getting into it. So thank you for that, and I'll continue watching your show. And anything you have, I will share it with my audience, and I'll promote it. Just let me know what's going on, and I'll try and see how we could collaborate, because there are plenty of people within the sterile processing field and within the healthcare diaspora in general who need the information that you're presenting. So thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for listening in. And yeah, any tips, anything that you want to hear more of, feel free to drop me a message on LinkedIn. And our newsletter goes out every week. So it's a summary of our weekly episodes. So for the people who like to read something that's super quick within 3 to 5 minutes, there you go. And for the people who love to listen, then click play. And then while you're driving, that's your 20 minutes.
Yes. So, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sabrina. Wishing you all the best after this show. You're gonna hit higher heights. And thank you guys for tuning into the show. And I will see you. We're out. Peace.